One of the questions I see quite common on concert photography forums is, how do I get a media pass? In this video, I'm going to explain my keep it simple, stupid method of getting media passes, keeping it easy. I'm Robert Maxfield. I'm a concert photographer in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, and welcome to Max Concert Photography, where we talk concert and music photography. Who'd have thunk? We've been very busy around here at Max Concert Photography for about the last month and a half, and what we've been doing is researching for festivals, because it's festival season, and doing things like that, and who we want to see, where we want to go, and arranging our schedule. In the last week, I've sent out 12 letters requesting media credentials, of which they've all come back, and I've got positive replies, except for one, which is under review and is probably going to be approved also. In scheduling, we've scheduled for the next, until probably the middle of May. It's the 1st of February, the middle of May. We've scheduled up to 50 shows with artists, and we're on our books, and we've been approved, and we're ready to go. And we're still adding more shows to our schedule. There are a few things that you should have set up before you request a media pass. And the first one is the reason why you deserve to have a media pass. That's the first. The second is a website to house your portfolio, and you want to have your best work in that portfolio. So I keep a very simple website. It's www.robertcmaxfield.com. Anybody can go there and look, and it will show examples of my concert photography. On your website, show only your best work. And I've got a lot of work that I know it's a little thick, and I've been trimming it back and trimming it down. You want to keep it pretty much to the point and the best work you have. That's what you want to be able to present. The next thing you want to have, if possible, is an Instagram account that's pretty well populated with the best stuff that you produce in your Instagram account. There's nothing worse than going to an Instagram account and having nothing there, or having probably half a dozen pictures and no followers or anything like that. It takes a while to build it up, so be patient. So after you've got all that together, what you want to do is go out, and what I do is I go out and look at Facebook, and I look at a lot of places around the area that hold public festivals. And in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are a ton. So I don't know about the rest of the world. I don't know about the rest of the country, but I'm sure by location it varies. But I know I see some of them in Florida. I see some of them in Pennsylvania. I see some of them in Missouri. There's plenty in California. I know Australia has a bunch of kind of things. But find who you want to photograph that's coming up, and preferably find them, I'd say 3 to 6 months out before the show actually is supposed to happen. After you've gone out and found the show that you want to see, the artist you want to see, you need to do some research. I will tell you this. I go out and I find people that are having concerts and events in my area. I've never heard any of the music they've ever played. I've said, it's sad, but it's true, but it's the truth. So what I will do is I go, that looks pretty interesting. I'll click on them on the website, and sometimes it'll take me to a YouTube page that shows what they look like in their music video, or in concert live, or whatever. And then I'll decide from there whether I want to photograph those people or not. That's the first thing I do. The next thing I do after that, after I've decided I like what I see, is I will take and write their names down and go to from the YouTube channel that they're on, go and see if they have a Facebook page, or see if they've got a website or something like that, preferably a website. And I'll go and look and see some more information, some more videos on them, some bios and things like that, where they're located, where they're from, if there's anything important in that information. One of the important things to look for is the contact section on the website. So when I do that, I'll look and see where that is and open it up and see who I'm dealing with. A lot of times you'll have booking managers, you'll have regular managers, you'll have tour managers, you'll have artists. Depending on the size of the artist, you'll have their emails and telephone numbers right there for you to look at. I prefer to deal with the artist first before dealing with the venue. I like to get the artist approval to photograph them. That way I can go to the venue and say, hey, look, I've got approval from X artist to shoot their show at your location on this date. Is it okay with you? And that way I've already been set up with the artist to do the the photography for them first before I set up and even bother with dealing with the venue. So in the email to the artist, preferably the artist management company, I will put something as simple as, good afternoon, I am Robert Maxfield. I'm a concert music photographer in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I am interested in photographing, artist name, on this date in wherever the location is. That's the first part. The next part of the email is, I will be covering the event for X publication. X publication is this to music in your area. It's what the publication's function is, what they do, why they're important. In a short blurb, I'll give you an example. One of the magazines that I shoot for, it's their line is Texas Original Music Magazine since 1973. The next thing I do is, depending on the artist or what's going on, I will tell them, I will provide a Google Drive box, a Dropbox, or something similar with photographs after the concert that you will be able to use for your use. At the bottom of the letter, I will take and say, well, first of all, thank whoever's reading it. I will take and then put a link to my website, a link to my Instagram, and a link to the publication, especially if it's got some of my work at the publication already. I'll put a link to that, and then I'll put my cell phone number. I will then spell check and look for punctuation on that letter. Make sure I've got the dates for when the show is supposed to happen correct, and I will send it off. And I will cover, say there's 3 or 4 addresses, so I may cover the touring manager first, and then I'll carbon copy the booking agent, and then if there's a media manager or something like that, a media outlet, I will cover them also, and carbon copy them, and make sure that I hit as many people as I possibly can within that email. You see a lot of questions about how soon should I send the email for the media request, or what's the shortest time? It doesn't matter really in a lot of cases. Sometimes I will send the media request 6 months in advance. If you release something, say in August for a festival that's going to happen in March, you've released it out there for people to see and know it's going to happen. So I've had instant replies come back saying, great, we'd love to have you, and it takes care of business quickly and effectively. And then sometimes within the 6-month period, I may not have heard anything until about a month before the show. And then what I will do at that point is I will send the email again and say, this is just a follow-up for an email I sent a while back asking for media credentials for X show, X date, X time of this artist, and do that again. And then later, if I still hadn't heard anything, I may do it a week, 10 days before the show and say, hey, look. And then if I don't hear anything back, guess what? I'm not going to shoot you. I don't care. There are some places, some people that, they're just not interested and they don't take the time to write you back, or they just don't get the message from you. And that's okay too. But you don't want to seem like you're overly desperate, but you want to have a pattern in which you deal with sending requests for media passes. A big thing to realize is, let's say Joe is the manager for X artist. Joe may also be the manager for Y artist and Z artist and A artist, and have several people that he works for. So when you get in a working relationship with one manager, you may have an in with half a dozen artists in the future. I've seen where I've sent a request for one artist I was interested in, and the manager say, "Oh yeah, I also represent so and so who's going to be here at this festival. You're welcome to shoot them too." Once I've got the approval from the artist and the artist management to photograph them in concert, I will then send a similar letter to the venue, in most cases, stating, hey, I've got permission from X artist to photograph them in concert at your location. And I'm letting you know. And in some cases, there are some venues that want you to buy a ticket and won't comp you a ticket. Some venues say, no, you can't do that. And then you have to adjust for that. Some venues say, okay, yeah, it's fine. Go ahead and do it. And this gives the venue a chance to say, yay, nay, or have some kind of input on you doing the work. We try to bring you the best we can in concert photography information. And believe it or not, over 50% of the people that view these videos are not subscribed. They haven't rang any bells. They haven't subscribed. They rarely hit the like button. But there's a big bunch of you that all participate and are involved in our community, and we want to thank you. But we'd also like to say, hey, if you find anything useful in these videos at all, please like and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. It helps us know that what we're doing is doing something. And we'd like to say thank you. So from all of us here at Max Concert Photography, we thank you. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. And next week, we're going to try to release a video on concert lighting. And that we're going to use live. We're going to use props. Anyway, I'll tell you that. So like and subscribe, and we thank you. Have a good day. We'll see you later.